All right, guys, before we get started, are there any questions over the homework? Questions over the homework assignments? We good on the homeworks? Huh? Yep. Number 19. Oh, for the most part, I mean, y'all's voice, and I try to refrain from saying y'all's name, but for you to really get on this, you're either going to have to A, scream or be right next to me. Which one? 19? Yeah. $19 from 1-6. So 1-6. Number 19, we were to do these on the, you can use the graphing calculator to do this here. So the first thing we need to do is to make an augmented matrix. And for 19, we'd have 1, 1, 4, 7. And then 2, -3, -1, -24, -4, 2, 2, 8. Now, once we get it typed in, we can go second matrix over to math, and then we're going to find REF. Second matrix A, enter. I'm guessing y'all got to at least this point here, yes? Okay. Now, to convert to decimal, or convert from decimal to fraction, if you hit the math button, the first one, FRAC, is fractions. So we can go math, enter. So it's, the answer for this is 7/3, 10, -4/3. If you put it as a decimal, I will take it too.
Oh, okay.
How would you do 3 repeated, like 3, 3, and then line on top?
Yep. Yeah. If you want to grab it and change it, they are still right there. Any other questions on the homework? What we're looking at today is we're dealing more with matrices. And the first thing we're going to talk about is addition and subtraction. You can add or subtract two matrices as long as the dimensions are the exact same. If the dimensions are the exact same, a 2x2 and a 2x2, we add the corresponding elements. So you don't have to write this next part down, but if we were adding these two here, A and E are corresponding elements, so we would add those two together. B and F are corresponding elements. They're the top in the same position on those two matrices, so we would add those two together. C and G are in the same spot, so we would add those two together. And lastly, D and H are corresponding elements, so we would add those two together. Yes, sir? Most of the time, yeah. Yes. Okay, yeah, you can put it right there. Yeah, to answer that question, there is a lot. As an anecdote or kind of tangent, the first day of, because I took calculus in college on the first day, first lesson, our professor handed us a sheet of paper that had 80, kind of listed out 80 some different things on it. He said under each one of those is another 20 to 30 different types of math. Under each one of those is another 20 to 30. Yeah. There's, and he said over the next 4 semesters, 2 years, you'll learn essentially less than nothing because it's such a small amount compared to how much is out there. And there's, because mathematics is a part of physics and there's so much. I wouldn't say that he knew all of it. He knew a lot, especially what he specialized in. Now, let's look at this here. So we're going to be adding these two matrices together. So the first one is a 2 by 2. The second one, the one we're adding to it, is also a 2 by 2. So that means we can add these together. So, well, our 2 and this 1 correspond to each other, yes? So we can do 2 plus 1. Our negative 1 and this 2 correspond to each other, so we can add those two. Our next set of corresponding ones would be 3 and 4, so we'd add 3 and 4. And lastly, we would have 0 and negative 2. Questions on how we're doing this here? So when we add two matrices, we're adding the corresponding elements. So our top left and top left are added together. Our top right and top right. Bottom left and bottom left, bottom right and bottom right. The ones that correspond to each other we add together. Now the last thing we need to do is actually just add them. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 3 plus 4 is 0 plus negative 2. Funny. But luckily, that there no one will ever hear, because they'll only hear my side of it. Because luckily this mic doesn't pick up beyond the first row. Really, not even the first row.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was yesterday. Oh yeah, we were saying that too.
Are you ready for the next one? Let's look at this one. Now this one's different from the last one. For one main thing. We're subtracting, we're not adding. That's the only difference. So if we look at this here, our first number that we have is 2. And we're going to subtract from it its corresponding number, which is negative 1. So since our negative, yes, and we'll do that here in a second. Our next number we have going down is 5 minus, the corresponding number would be 7. And our next one we have is negative 2 minus negative 5. We'll go to the next number, which is our negative 3, and we would subtract from it 2. Our next number would be 4 minus 8, and lastly we would have 8 minus 6. Now, as we mentioned a minute ago, so our first one, 2 minus negative 1. The negative and negative would make a plus, and 2 plus 1 is 3. We'll just go down. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. 2 minus negative 5, negative and negative make a plus. So negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Let's go to the next column. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. 4 minus 8, negative 4. And lastly, 8 minus 6. It would be positive 2. That's it. Questions on this here? Now, yes, you can do this in the calculator. So let's look at this one here. So to do this in the calculator, the first thing we've got to do is put both of the matrices in. So we can go second matrix. over to edit. And we can hit enter for matrix A. Now this first one is a 3 by 2. So we'd say 2, -3, 5, 4, -2, 8. So I'd put the first matrix in matrix A. So then we would go to matrix B. So we'll go second quit, second matrix, over to edit, but this time we're going to drop down to matrix B. Hit enter. It's also a 3 by 2. -1, 2, 7, 8, -5, 6. Second quit. Now to do the addition, or here subtraction, is we would recall matrix A. So second matrix, that first list, let's just recall them. Minus second matrix, this time we want B. A minus B is this here. But really for this, most of the just addition, subtraction, what we're doing, it's about as quick to do it by hand as it is to type the whole thing in. So, especially if we're just doing addition, subtraction, it's neither here nor there which one you do. We ready for the next one? Okay. So we're adding, yes? Let's go on and add. So we'll start out with -8 plus 6, yes? Then we have 1 plus -1. Then we have 3 plus 1. And it is very tempting to put 0 and 0 here, yes? Did I change what the second matrix was? Well, yeah, because the first one's a what? 2 by 3. The second one is a, for us to be able to add or subtract two matrices, the dimensions have to be the same. Since they're not the same, this is undefined. It is undefined. Now, a nice way to spell undefined. UND, undefined. It's undefined. We can't do it because we do not have enough elements in that second matrix to be able to add. And if we added 2 there, we're not adding those 2 matrices. We're adding 2 different matrices. So if the dimensions are not the same, it is undefined. Questions on this here? We ready for the next one? Yeah. Actually, do we feel comfortable with addition, subtraction? Yeah. So we feel good with these here? Yeah. Do we need to see another example of one of these? All right. If we feel good, we'll move on to scalar multiplication. When multiplying matrices with a real number is often called scalar. And if we multiply the scalar with matrix, it's called scalar multiplication. All right? Now we have that definition, but I think it's a little bit easier to understand if we look at an actual example, yes? So we have 2 times this matrix. We're going to scale everything up by a factor of 2. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do. So our first element in the top corner is 3, yes? I'm going to multiply it by...
I have your attention, please. It is now time to release the cross-country boys, girls who are going to the meet today. Thank you.
So we're going to multiply that 3 by 2. The 1 is also going to be multiplied by 2. The 2 is multiplied by 2. The -2, 5, and 0 are all being multiplied by 2. before y'all head out.
Was the ones from yesterday, was it? It seems like it's important.
I believe so. You can check Google Classroom to make sure, because they are listed there. Okay. We good with everything so far with this? 2 times 3. 2 times 1. 2. 2 times 2, 4. Then negative 4, 10. And that's it. So we don't necessarily have division with matrices. We have fractional scalars. We just multiply by a fraction. Because we can't actually divide matrices. So if it's by a number, we can't divide it by a number, we'll multiply it by its fraction. So dividing this by 2, we wouldn't say division of 2, we would just multiply it by 1/2. We don't divide two matrices by each other, we multiply it by its inverse, is how we do that. But I think we feel good about scalars, yes?
Yeah.
Let's put the two together.
Okay.
So we're going to do addition and a scalar multiplication. We multiply first. So we're going to multiply the scalar first. So the first matrice.
63. Oh.
All right, guys. So the first thing you'll always want to do is the scalar multiplication. If there is a negative sign, you can take the negative with it. But if you do, it just changes it from a minus to a plus because you took the negative away. So the first thing we're going to do is multiply by this negative 3. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 3 times 0, 0. Negative 3 times 4, negative 12. And now we just need to add. So we'd have negative 15 plus negative 1, 0 plus 7, 6 plus 3, and negative 12 plus 2. How do we feel with this here? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's the final answer. Negative 16, 7, 9, negative 10. All right, guys, let's look at this one in the calculator.
Are there going to be some of them that you have to do in a calculator?
You can do all these by hand. So, guys, we'll look at the last one we did here. So it's a 2 by, not a 22, 2 by 2. 5, 0, negative 2, 4. So, yes, we will. We'll do the negative 3 here in a minute. 2 by 2, negative 1, 7, 3, 2. Okay. All right, guys. So if we do this one in the calculator, the first thing we do is got to put the matrices in. So I put the first one in as A. I put the second one in as B. So here, I've defined this one as A and this one as B. So we have negative 3 times A plus B. Yes? So we're going to type it in just like that. So the first thing I'm going to, wrong calculator, -3, second matrix A, plus second matrix B.
Simple, but not gonna do it.
Because I would say when we get more of these scalars in addition, subtraction, then the calculator starts becoming a little faster. But do we feel good with this here?
Yeah.
We ready for the next part?
Yeah.
I would check my answer with the calculator.
That's it.
It's fine.